So, as many of you may know, iOS 15 is Apple's newest operating system for iPhones, and it was released to the general public just a few hours ago. A very large number of iPhone models will actually be eligible for this new iOS version, but one consideration is that not all features of the new OS will actually work on some older models, particularly some models that are older than the iPhone X. So in this video, we're going to take a quick look at what features people with older iPhones will be missing in this upgrade, and whether they might need to consider purchasing a new iPhone altogether. The first major feature that I want to start with is something called Live Text. It was announced by Apple's Craig Federighi at WWDC this past summer, and it was actually given quite a bit of screen time. The feature allows users to point their iPhone at any text they may see, such as a business sign, and open the camera app to copy and paste the text. However, the feature only works on iPhones with an A12 Bionic chip or better. So that means that starting with the iPhone X, the feature will simply not be included with the new iOS. Whether this is important depends on what kind of things you like to use your iPhone for. If you frequently scan in documents using the camera in the Notes app, then you'll definitely be missing out from an incredibly helpful feature. But if you've never really had the desire to frequently do this, then alternative solutions like the Google Photos app will work just as well. Next, there's a feature coming to FaceTime for newer iPhones called Portrait Mode. This allows people to call on FaceTime and essentially blur their background, while having the call focus on their face. This has become more and more common throughout the pandemic, with more people needing to participate in video conferencing. Now, if you've needed to be in one of these calls from time to time, then you'll probably be familiar with the stress of being in a messy place for your call. This feature is meant to alleviate some of that stress by allowing the user to simply erase their background to the other participants. Now, personally, for me, the lack of this feature certainly won't be a deal breaker, because the majority of my video calls have been through Zoom, like most people. But again, it depends on how much you use FaceTime. The devices supporting this feature are the same, with the A12 Bionic chip or better being required. That means any iPhones starting with the 10 or earlier won't be eligible for Portrait Mode. The last big feature that older phones are missing out on is the augmented reality upgrades coming to Apple Maps for the newer iPhones. For people who can use this feature, they'll be able to use the camera of their iPhone to experience real-time walking and biking directions on the screen. Arrows and street names will appear seemingly in real life to guide the user more easily to their destination. Now, as much of an iPhone person that I am, I think it's safe to say that I'm like most people and use Google Maps instead. I also don't live in a very walkable area, so this type of thing wouldn't help me much anyway. In fact, Apple has yet to expand the feature beyond the Bay Area in California. So unless you live there and have an iPhone XS or better, you probably won't be enjoying this feature too much, at least for the moment. Alright, so now we understand all of the major features that older iPhones will not be receiving with the new iOS. So now we need to answer the big question: should you upgrade so that you get these features? Well, I would say that it depends what iPhone model you are upgrading from. If you have an iPhone 7 or 6S, I would highly recommend that you upgrade at least to the new iPhone SE. You'll still get the same smaller form factor with the home button, and all of the new features are fully supported. But if you're coming from an iPhone 8, 8 Plus, or 10, I would say that it really is up to you. These phones are still quite fast, and the only real consideration is that if there are any of these three major features you can't simply live without. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching, and be on the lookout for more content, hopefully soon. I would really appreciate it if you could subscribe to my channel, because I am actually just starting out. And with that, I will see you in the next video.